We wish to congratulate MEC Duma on such a strategic appointment. In fact, he is not the Deputy Premier. He is the leader of government business. We are encouraged by his experience in this regard, having been the leader of government business and MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs since August 2023, and also having served in the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Legislature since 2014. At the center of everything we do is our collective commitment to the government of provincial unity, whose sole purpose is to deepen the unity of our people in their diversity, accelerate service delivery, implement programs that will reduce poverty, grow the economy through inclusive growth, build a clean and prudent governance that will be the basis for a capable, ethical, and developmental state, and ensuring safer communities. In line with the priorities of the government of the national unity, the KwaZulu-Natal Cabinet Lekgotla has resolved to strengthen the capacity and support for the struggling municipalities to ensure that, first and foremost, they are capable of providing basic services to our people and create and facilitate economic growth. We have resolved that the attainment of clean audits will be compulsory in our municipalities and linked to performance agreements across the board. As the provincial government, we are particularly interested to see eThekwini municipality resolve some of the major challenges they are facing, particularly in the provision of water and sanitation services, the removal of the solid waste, and the attraction of the new investors, as highlighted by the President last week. eThekwini is the key driver of the economy of the province and one of the main contributors to the country's gross domestic product. As the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we are the active participants in the eThekwini Presidential Working Group intervention, which was set up to enhance support of eThekwini Metro. In support of this intervention, we have also instituted Section 154 support intervention, which is a provincial government decision, wherein we measure to ensure that the situation is indeed turned around in eThekwini. The Executive Council approved the deployment of members of Provincial Executive Council and head of departments to the Operation Sukumasake District Development Model Champions, MECs and HODs, in the respective districts, and one which is the Metro, of which myself, I will be the champion of eThekwini Metro, because eThekwini is a priority in this government. This will give added impetus in our commitment to eThekwini to speedily resolve its challenges. We have renewed our resolve to create and sustain safer communities. This is one of the key priorities that emerged from the Lekgotla, which is an extension of the commitments we made upon assuming a government. As such, the Executive Council approved the hosting of the Provincial Crime Summit, which will take place on the 2nd of August here in eThekwini. The summit objectives are, among other things, to create a platform for collective approach in pinpointing the key causal factors of the culture of violence and murder in KwaZulu-Natal, deal with the issue of violence protest that result in the destruction of public infrastructure, and also design a clear intervention strategy. As government, We have put construction and infrastructure development at the center of our new economic growth strategy of the province. No one can argue with the fact that KwaZulu-Natal is a construction site, as it is visible on the national and provincial road network, as well as a human settlement. We are noting with concern the disturbances of projects in the construction industry in the province. As part of ongoing and inclusive engagement, and in a bid to find solutions in the construction industry, I've directed that the responsible MECs must urgently organize an engagement with the construction industry within the next few days. In fact, I will be meeting those who are in the construction industry. We want to make sure that we leave no one behind. As a result, on the 10th, in fact, of August, we'll be meeting the taxi industry. I think we are all aware of the industrial charters that are taking place around because of the taxi industry. We're saying that they are not happy with the issues of the permits. Hence, then we'll give them a platform. These engagements, they are designed to unlock opportunities for everyone who's qualifying, compliant, upright business people in the sector, but also protect the integrity of the sector. We will communicate the date for the other one, the issue of the construction, as I've already highlighted. In conclusion, the Cabinet Lekgotla resolution will be consolidated and communicated as a plan of action in the State of the Province address, which the Premier will table next week on the 31st of July. I wish to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've requested that they also share the remarks that I made, because they have a lot of information on the closing of the Provincial Lekgotla. I think they are preparing copies if they are not already ready, but they will be sharing so that you'll get more information. Having said that, I think there will be few questions. Thank you very much.
Maybe without really directing the Premier, I don't know, because inside the Premier there were very, very critical points that the Premier raised in his closing remarks, and I'm sure he'll refer to that before you get the copy so that you can get it on the recordings. Maybe we'll highlight some of them to direct your questions towards that. I don't know if the Premier wants to highlight just a few that are really, really critical so that you can get it on tape.
Well, I'm not quite sure, because there are many. I thought it was going to be better if they read the whole set of the remarks.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Premier. I see the questions already. So if we can start, I will start there, Duma. And then SABC at the back, come here, in that order, 1, 2, 3. Let me take the first three, colleagues, the first three questions.
Yeah, the first one, thanks, brother. The first one is that from my witness, the first one is directed to the Premier. I think it's a question of clarity. I remember jumping in one of my colleagues trying to understand. So ever since I've known this leader of government business position has always been under the ATI MEC. What I'm understanding is that Duma remains transport and human settlement MEC, but will be now leader of government, is not being moved back to ATI. Is that what I'm understanding from the Premier? Just as a point of clarity there. And then the second question is going to the MEC of Transport. MEC, it's about the 2 blockades yesterday. You've mentioned that you've been in talks with all stakeholders. I'm trying to look at where are we now in terms of that, but also Mbangen is also an economic hub. I think second largest also in the province. To what extent does this dent the province's economy? Those are the 2 for my things.
Thank you very much, Mavasu. Oh, yeah.
My name is Hussein Kumar from SABC. My question is directed to the Honorable Premier. You said that the clean audit would be compulsory.
Harper from the Mail and Guardian. eThekwini, as we speak, there's a strike by Public Works, the refuse removal depots are blockaded, vehicles are being stolen. There's clearly a pushback against the initiatives which have been taken to regularize the city. How does one deal with that? And if I can abuse the opportunity. Going forward, how does the provincial government prevent internal issues within the composition bodies from impacting on your ability to perform as a government? As we speak, the NFP has 2 court cases going on regarding the leadership of the party. How does one stop those issues permeating into the terrain of provincial government?
Thank you very much, Penny. Let me just take the 2 there so that we conclude this first round.
I just want to add on to the questions that my colleagues have asked, but mine has to do with the construction matter in KwaZulu-Natal. We have heard from different officials who have taken on the role, saying that they're going to do the construction matter because it's an issue for the province. But over the years, we haven't seen any action. It's still there. There are some sites that are still not finished because of the matter. What is this new government planning to do with this issue, this ongoing issue, giving public work, especially in this field, to this community?
Thank you very much, Tiwe. Let's allow the Premier to make the notes and then he will respond. Oh, okay.
Well, no, but because there's only one question. I think on the, I know Honorable MEC Duma, he wants to clear on the issue of himself being not happy when he is appointed by the Premier to be the leader of a government business. Let me then allow him to address that one first, if you can move closer.
No, thank you so much, Asomplisi Kodite, Honorable Premier, for affording us this opportunity. Let me greet the 40th state in our midst. We have MEC Etia, MEC Nondaba, who possesses a lot of wisdom, has been around in the world of politics, and we want to thank you, Mpepeto, for giving us this opportunity. I'm sure will be defined at some point in time as the generation that had the privilege of encountering a serious challenge and adversity, but at the end of the day came with the tangible solutions. I'm sure, Premier, you've highlighted some of the fundamental and the pillars of what KwaZulu-Natal is going to do. It's unfortunate, Premier, that they are just coming with the preconceived ideas and it's a distorted information because it has been drummed enough. I've been in legislature since 2009. I'm just going to highlight 2. While Premier Mkhize was the Premier in the province, it was MEC Mchunu Willis, who was the lead of government business, who was occupying the Department of Transport at some point in time. Himself, at some point in time, served as the lead of government business during Debele's premiership, so it's not true. Nondaba will tell you the same, that during the first instance in the new dispensation, it was not that. So I think it has been a culture, so the coincidence must not be determining that it has an effect validity. So we are delighted that we are serving, and we are serving on the behest of the Premier in his collective. I think it was in his wisdom just to balance some of the equations. We are going to work, and it's true that we must complement. And I'm glad, Premier, that I'm not a deputy Premier. I'm not even envisaging that position. I'll be playing the role of being a lead of government business, which is critical at this point in time because the 7th term has also been characterized with the formulation of enhancing that we become selfless as leaders. We must also occupy our role in ensuring that at the core center we service our communities. Then lastly, Premier, there is a question around the issue of blockades. The reality is that I've already interacted with Santaco and different tax associations as outlined already by the Premier, and we are going to meet the taxi industry. The reality is that the issue of permits is something that we must go to deeper details because before yourself you go and buy or procure, the taxi, you must have a permit and you must comply. And if not complying, then the applicability of the law is always crucial. But we don't just go there, we don't short-circuit the matters. We start negotiate because we know that commuters, almost 70% on a day-to-day basis, are commuting using the taxi. So the taxi industry become the backbone and the pillar in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which is why it's key that we work collaboratively together. We must also complement and assist them. And at the right time, we're still going to do the media briefing when we are just going to say, with the issue of Ulundi in particular, that route, there were no permissions at the initial phase. So it's something that we have to deal, and conflicts from time to time will arise, and it is our option, that it is our jurisdiction, that we must deliberate on those issues and come up with tangible solutions. Thank you so much, Prima.
No, thank you very much, Honorable MEC Duma. I think he has responded, even for myself, Mr. Mabas. I don't think you expect me to still respond to that one. Well, on the issue of the clean audit, in fact, it's an important call that we are making as government. It will be coupled by support between government and SALGA, the empowerment as part of our plan, because we are not saying we want clean audit, but we are saying we want to join hands with a local government so as to ensure that their compliance level is up to the standard. We have directed then the MEC for quarter to consider details as to how we can realize that within a shorter space of time. No, I think we have seen he's happy with the appointment. For that one, he's happy, absolutely happy. Well, on the issue of the EPWP strike, we are attending to that. We have received the memorandum. We have agreed that I will be meeting His Worship the Mayor of eThekwini about this one. And I think we'll be making considerations of not only the one that is happening here in eThekwini. I think the concern is all over when it comes to EPWPs, because when I read the memorandum that they sent to my office, they were saying they have been employed there as EPWPs for 10 years and they are about to retire, and then they were given a letter to go home now before retirement. So we'll be getting closer on that matter and we'll be able to appraise the public on the way forward. I know that some powers, they reside with the national government, and then we will be therefore engaging also the national government on the criticality of this subject. Well, the challenges that are facing political parties who are part of the GPU or GNU, I think we are watching them closely. When we had an interaction or an engagement with the coalition partners in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we agreed that now, going forward, the IFP will be worried on what will be happening in the ANC, or the ANC will be worried in what will be happening in the IFP. Because we want to have those parties being actually formidable and stable, so that even our GPU will be stable. Well, on the question whether we are worried, we are just at the initial stage of our GPU. We expected then there will be some matters of attendance which along the way will find them being fine-tuned. On the issue of the construction mafia, we have taken an approach to introduce action now. Ms. Ntuli, it is action that we are going to meet them, not to only talk about them in the public or in the media, but we want to engage them. Why we are taking that approach? In King Cetshwayo, when I arrived in 2021, I think you are aware, there was a problem of the business forum. To an extent that the MM, by that time of King Cetshwayo, went to seek for the protection order, they were no longer allowed to enter the premises of King Cetshwayo. But when I arrived, I met them, I engaged them, and I understood where was the point of, in fact, conflict. And we were able to identify things that were supposed to be attended to by the district and the issues that were supposed to be respected by them as the business forum. As a result, after that, we were able to find one another. The problem that was in existence there was able to be mitigated. And we want to explore that one first to see if when we actually engage, because when we engage them, we'll be not saying to them, you must demand job, you must demand a contract, you must demand, as they are purported to be doing. We'll be saying, where are we not doing right as government? And where are you not doing right as the construction industry? So that we find each other. That is our action, which we believe it will yield some positive actions. But I also believe if they don't stop doing wrong things, there will be some measures, corrective measures, to anyone amongst the construction industry who will be violating the prescripts that regulates the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we take the second round, maybe second last round? Let's see where I note you. Michelle, I note you also. And who else at the back? Okay. Let me note you as well. So we'll start there, come here, and then go there.
I just want to follow up on what the Premier said regarding the construction mafia. The former MEC for Public Works, when you spoke about him, when you spoke to him about this, he also said they're going to engage in the construction mafia. Do you think that it's the right way to engage criminals because they are demanding a cut of government contracts from companies? So you're also going to take the same approach of engaging criminals instead of actually acting against them?
Thank you, Tushi.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Sheila Msongo from KZN. The issue of eThekwini or the EPW issue is that going forward, what is the provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal going to do about managing the EPW employees in such a way that it doesn't create an expectation that they are full-time employees, but instead they are contract workers, because we can see that they've been there for a very long time, which makes them to think that they are, they are permanent. So what is the government going to do about avoiding such instances?
Thank you, Sheila. Let's start there and then we'll come to you, Joshua.
My question might not necessarily about the Lekgotla outcome, but we got calls from the Royal family who are claiming that the provincial government had blocked the budget that was allocated for them to go to Malawi to attend a traditional ceremony of the King of Malawi, the King of Malawi. In fact, they were supposed to accompany King Misuzu next week. So they are claiming that the government is now prioritizing the Premier's Cup, which is going to cost taxpayers an amount of 7 million rand. So I'm trying to check if you are aware of that.
Okay, but so that we are clear,
No, I understood the question.
Okay. Let's
We are considered as one of the provinces that continue to battle with crime and deadly shootings. Just last night, there was an Inanda takedown where police shot and killed 3 suspected criminals. This shooting also comes days after 4 suspected criminals were shot and killed in Sydney. And community members also in such areas still raising concerns, Premier, about crime. I'm just looking at Has the provincial Lekgotla that's set for 2 days discussed anything around crime? There are also now the new elements that are also creeping in again that we used to battle with, the kidnapping of women and children. I mentioned the 2 cases of the lady, and we saw other leaders visiting the 2 families. That's how we were aware that there are now these incidents happening. What were the discussions around this from the provincial government, especially with these community safety lines in the Premier's office? What has been discussed, what is being done, and what's the next plan for crime?
Thank you. Honorable Queen.
Well, thank you. I think I'll start with Ms. Ntuli from ENCA. You see, the issue of the group of the contractors who are named or called construction mafia, you cannot, in fact, by law, arrest a person because he's called construction mafia. The only thing you can do is that when a person is doing a criminal activity, that is wherein you can arrest. We discussed this thoroughly in the Lekgotla, that the challenges the police are faced with, even the courts of our country, is that at times a business person will arrive on site where construction is taking place to either negotiate or demand to be part of the work, not carrying any gun, but being surrounded by the bodyguards with big guns, rifles. When you go to court saying he threatened you, even the pictures will show him not carrying any gun. So as a result in court, they will go free. So what we want to do, in fact, we want because you cannot say, I'm calling you because you are construction mafia. I want to talk to you because you are construction mafia. But we'll be meeting the people who are in business of construction to look at the challenge that is facing our province, so that we try and find one another, so that they will also participate in addressing those who are doing the wrong things. Because we are in agreement that those business leaders who are in construction, some of them are really not doing right. Hence, they are now called construction mafias. And we also want the contractors themselves to be part of the journey of stopping or mitigating the problem that is facing this province. It's not that we regard them as criminals. Before, they have cases that have been opened to courts, and the court have decided otherwise. Then that is wherein we will begin to do that. Well, on the issue of the EPWP employees, to avoid that they're employed for a longer period, I think for the EPWPs, we must be frank in saying that at times, even our service government, we are not doing right as per what is expected to government when or after employing the EPWPs. We don't make a provision of giving them skills so that they will exit to other opportunities. As a result, they stay there. When it's time for actually saying the contract now is over, that is where then you begin to have problems, because they do not have somewhere to go. So we'll be engaging all such matters, so that going forward we'll find a smart way of ensuring that we do not keep them longer to the system without necessary skills that will open opportunities for them somewhere else. I'm not quite sure, Matula, because this media briefing is about the provincial Lekgotla. When then you bring an issue of the royal family, a trip to Malawi, whether you'll find an honest and frank response, Matula. But I always provide frank and honest responses. That matter is still being attended by the MEC for KwaZulu-Natal and my office. You must know that the MEC for KwaZulu-Natal is the traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation and monarchy. So it's still being attended. But I must indicate that the request was amounting to, I think it's more than 3 million, if I'm not mistaken, for just one trip. Hence, they are looking at that one, they are attending to it. Well, on the issue of crime, we had thorough engagements on the issues around crime. That is why we'll be having that engagement, wherein we'll have all stakeholders who are role players to look at the strategies of mitigating crime. And the discussion, in fact, was centered around the hotspots. Like after the Lekgotla, everyone now is clear where are the hotspots of what specific kind of crime. Hence, I think that has empowered us so that when we go to the summit, we'll at least have some inputs that might find some results. And we are hopeful that even yourself will be joining us after the summit, because the first call which one is actually making is that fighting crime is not only the work of the police. Every citizen in our province has a responsibility over the future of this government, over the rebuilding and reconstruction of this government. We all share responsibility. So it's important then that when we go there, out of that summit, we'll then come back having been revived to participate on the matters of crime.
Thank you very much, Honourable Premier. I think that does it, unless there is one last question. No. Thank you very much. Let's close it here, Honourable Premier and the MECs. Thank you very much to you, Member. Oh, you wanted in Sizulu. Oh, yes, sorry.
Well, Kilan, before you say thank you very much to you, I think we must also thank them. Honourable MEC Duma has already done that. Really, we must thank you, because waiting for us when you expected us to be here by 3, but that kind of an understanding, thank you very much for that understanding. I know, Guti, you are patient enough. I used to watch you waiting for the President's address, and thank you very much for being patient again today. Well, ebesihlangene njengohulumeni wesifundazwe kwi-Lekgotla la khona ebesibuka amaqhinga okwenza ngcono ukusebenza kahulumeni, ikakhulukazi ukuzana bakwaZulu-Natal bebona umehluko njengamanje. Sibukile kihle kwesemqoka udaba lokulwa nobugebengu, udaba lamathuba omsebenzi, udaba lokuthuthukisa umnotho wesifundazwe saKwaZulu-Natal, kanye nezinselelo eziphathelene nomsebenzi wokwandisa kwenqalazinda okuyi-infrastructure phecelezi esifundazweni, ukuthi sizokwenza njani ukuthi sikwazi ukubhekana nazo. Sinenhlelo-ke la khona esohlangana maduze nabe-tax industry, ilaba be-construction industry, kanye ney'nhlaka ezilwa nobugebengu. Kodwa okunye sibe nomhlangano ophuthumayo special izolo njenge-cabinet la khona ngibese ngethula ngazisa i-cabinet ngokuqoka kwami ozoba i-leader of government business, u-MEC umhlonishwa uDuma, engimqokile ukuthi uyena-ke ozokwazi ukuxhumanisa i-legislature kanye nohulumeni lo kanye ne-executive, nokwenza isiqinisekiso ukuthi kuba akukho ukungena la ungafanele ungene khona, kungabikho ukuphambana kokusebenza kuhulumeni wethu. Engimhalaliselayo kakhulu naye umhlonishwa uDuma, futhi ke lesikhundla bevele kusona eqinisweni kuyasiza nanokuthi ulwazi abevele enalo akwazi ukusilekelela ngalo siqhubekela phambili. Ngothi lezo ndaba lezo ke, kodwa Uthi iphuzo bese mqoka kakhulu kabi udaba lo masipala ngoba ayi sixoxile impela ukuthi omasipala bonke kulo financial year eqalayo kufanele basebenzele i-clean audit. Kodwa sithena ke sizokwenza ngokuthi siqale sisondele sibambisane kakhulu nabo sibalekelele la sikwazi ukulekelela khona. Sithena ke umhlonishwa uMEC wakaKhokta akahamba ayobheka ukuthi imapha amaphuzu asemqoka okufanele sigxile kuwona ukuze omasipala sibalekele bacoshe umbiko okuyona wona nanokuthi singazi ngoba se-Auditor General sekhipha umbiko kodwa sibone ikota nekota ukuthi omasipala uhambo lwabo ngabe lubhekela kufanele khona. Sithi ke hayi asizukubekezelela okungenzi kahle komasipala bethu. Siyafuna ukuthi babambisane nathi bayilithemba lethu komasipala ngoba sithena intuthuko vele yenzeka komasipala. Ithemba lethu likubo njengohulumeni sifundazwe ukuthi konke sikwenzayo kufanele sibambisane nabo. Siqala iculture entsha manje yokuthi umasipala nohulumeni sifundazwe babe into eyodwa ukusebenza kwabo. Uma sifuna ukusebenza komasipala bangezwe nje kuthiwa siyagijima lapha kumasipala kodwa abazi nokuthi bekwenze njani sizogijima. Sifuna ukuqinisa lo budlelwane sibambisane nenhlangano yomasipala okusaga. Ngiyathokoza kakhulu.
Thank you very much, Thank you very much, listeners. Thank you very much, colleagues. Much appreciated.
Ngiyethemba mthiyani ngizobaphaka ama copies la bengiwacelile. Okay. Uzungaqala ingoma yakho uphuma basi.
This is News Live SA.